Welcome back to part number 3 and the finale of What If Darth Vader Found Out Leia Was His Daughter. Thank you to those of you who have watched any of the other parts. If you have not seen any of those videos or are not subscribed, make sure you do those first before watching this video. After destroying the Death Star, Vader nursed his slightly damaged TIE Advanced shuttle to the closest Star Destroyer. As he begins to land in the hangar, he notices immediately that something is wrong, and the Imperial troopers on the ground below fire at will. Vader tries to swerve the ship away from the blaster fire, but his reinforced hull is burning, and he is forced to leap out. The Sith machine felt hate to the Emperor surge through him, and he lifted a loose piece of the wall and pushed it at immense speed to the Imperial forces. Through the embers of the burning hangar, Vader suddenly felt a great wave of pain course through him, and he looked up to see that the Emperor was standing over him. Palpatine did not need to discover that his apprentice had destroyed the Death Star in order to deduce that he had been betrayed, as nothing escaped him. Although he had been quietly impressed by Vader's efforts to overwhelm the troops, the power of the apprentice would always be insignificant to that of Lord Sidious. 2 personal guards take Vader away from the floor and into Sidious's quarters, where he would suffer a prolonged period of pain. Vader later awoke and found himself in a force containment field. Through the corner of his battered mask, he saw Palpatine looking smug atop his throne, and Vader knew that he could not provoke the Sith Master. Although the force field was stopping him from breaking out, he deepened his connection to the Force and reached out to any Force presence outside of the room. From a rebel cruiser, Leia was looking out of the wide bay window, with C3PO, R2-D2 and a healing Luke. At the same time, the twins felt the Force poking at their senses and looked at each other, now aware that their father was in trouble. Luke shrugged off the sling he had been equipping and ran to the temporary quarters of Yoda, Obi-Wan and Bail Organa. The 2 Jedi Masters are curious to the dramatic outburst, but they soon get to their feet, hearing the threat to Vader's life. Although Luke had limited training, Yoda knew that Vader would not last long under the watchful eye of the Emperor, and soon he would be replaced by another, perhaps even more powerful Force sensitive. The rebels go to their hangar and choose a lightweight freighter to fly to the Star Destroyer, which had been detected by the Alliance fleet, and approaching it slowly, its turrets swiveled and began to fire. Luke engages into a series of loops and turns, and manages to dodge them all, then hovered into the same hangar that Vader tried to land in. But unlike with Vader's descent, less Imperial troopers were awaiting their arrival, and the Jedi dropped down, focused upon finding Vader. The Jedi navigate a series of corridors, with Leia sending a transmission to the Rebel High Command, ordering them to attack with maximum firepower. Luke, Yoda and Obi-Wan reached a series of turbo lifts and entered one of the centre ones, rising to the top floor, and prepared themselves to be exposed to the dark side. The doors slid open without their command, and Sidious turned around in his chair. The senile Sith Lord clapped his hands together and walked down the stairs to greet them. Like his father, Luke was impatient and lunged straight at Palpatine, which was a mistake as he is hit by the full force of a Sith lining attack. Obi-Wan and Yoda had no time to check upon the health of Luke, as soon they were both dueling with the Sith, who had lost none of his powers despite his old age. To the side, Luke crawled along the floor and saw his father contained in a force field. The ship tilted slightly with the rebel attack, but Luke was determined and freed Vader from his shackles. The apprentice to Sidious found his lightsaber on top of the armrest of Palpatine's throne, and summoning it to his hand, marched with intent to the Sith Lord. Palpatine accused his apprentice of choosing the side of the weak in the Jedi, but this was no longer Vader, but Anakin Skywalker. Aided by Yoda and Obi-Wan, Anakin used all of his untapped potential that the Emperor had trapped within him and lifted him into the air, then threw his lightsaber at him, sending wisps of Sith energy around the room and depressurizing it. The 4 combatants scrambled to safety as missiles began to rain upon the Star Destroyer, and each find the closest starfighter to go to the safety of the rebel fleet. There Leia is present to block any rebel officers from attacking Vader, and at last he had earned her forgiveness and fulfilled his prophecy in bringing balance to the Force. That is it for What If Darth Vader Found Out Leia Was His Daughter. If you enjoyed this What If, please like this video, turn on that notification bell, click that subscribe button for more tips, as well as on my other channel What If Films. And as always, leave a comment on what if you'd all like to see next, and how I can improve my videos. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.